It's Monday night, and you know what that means. It's time for the Tan and J-Man Show. It is February 10th of 2025. I'm the J-Man. Sitting over there in Indiana is the Tan Man, Tanner Lee. How you doing tonight, T-Dog?
Doing good, J-Man. NFL season, another NFL season, I should say, is in the books, but not the result I think you and I expected. I don't think we're mad about it.
No.
But I don't think too many people have Philadelphia running away with Super Bowl 59 on their bingo card.
Yeah, I think, it wasn't a surprise to me that Philadelphia won because it felt like Kansas City had been kind of skirting by the skin of their teeth all season, really. But yeah, they just took it to them. It was 40-6 at one time. Then two garbage time touchdowns by the Chiefs made it look closer than it was. It wasn't even that close. But
no, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. I said it last week. It was the least I've looked forward to a Super Bowl, and I would say it was one of the least enjoyable Super Bowls that I can remember watching. I disliked both of those teams pretty similarly.
Yeah, I saw Sirianni joins rare company of John Madden and I think it was Vince Lombardi to have gone to, I think it was 2 Super Bowls, win one, and have a .700 winning percentage for his career.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and he about got fired last year.
Yeah, and it was not looking great for him in the first few weeks of the year either. So
nope.
Fans are stupid.
Not patient.
Yeah, not patient. Yeah, Howie Roseman might be the best GM in sports at this point. He is fantastic there in Philadelphia. And Jeffrey Lurie, one of the best, I think that's his name, owners in the sport too, because continuously they've won really the past 8-10 years or so.
Well, I think we were talking about this a week or two ago. You go back to 2000, they're easily the best NFC franchise.
Easily. They finally got over the hump about 7 or 8 years ago and won one, but consistently in NFC title games at least. And now they've won, 2 Super Bowl, 2 of the past 8 or 9 Super Bowls now, and they've been to a couple. And easily I would say the best, most consistent for sure NFC team.
Yep. Even though they one of their division rivals gets all the publicity, and they haven't had nothing since '96.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see who they choose to play them week 1 on that Thursday night. If it's the Cowboys or if it's somebody else. I saw a list of their teams they play at home.
Denver. Commanders might make sense.
Yeah, Washington does make sense. I would say a rematch,
Jaden Daniels,
NFC Championship game. I'm sure Washington will be a sexy Super Bowl pick next year. Going into next year, but
Detroit. I can see
Detroit as well. Yeah, they have a pretty tough home schedule. Denver's one of them, as I said.
Yep.
I would be surprised if that's the team they choose to have on the Thursday.
Oh, I'd be shocked.
But hey, you never know. I mean, remember just last season, it was Detroit at Kansas City. Who could have predicted that?
That's true. That's true. And we always kind of joke there's no off season in the NFL. Well, it pops up today. Free agency starts a month from today.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna. I mean, it's here quick. So
there's about 4 weeks where it's kind of nothing. I mean, you'll hear some rumors and stuff, and the combine's in there too. So it's really
true.
2 weeks of nothing, 2-3 weeks of nothing. But it's kind of time for teams to kind of catch their breath a little bit. But it's reached the point of the season where Sundays in February are usually not all that fun, depending on if our college basketball teams play or not, which they don't this Sunday, so there's really nothing to do. I'm glad, obviously, when my team doesn't make the playoffs, I'm pretty eager to get the season over with and see who they can reload with in free agency. And free agency in the NFL is always real fun to watch for those first 5 days or so.
No doubt. But I got some NFL related birdie or bogey trivia for you this evening. Patty Mahomes threw 2 interceptions last night, taking his career Super Bowl interceptions numbers up to 7.
Mhm.
There's one guy who's thrown 8 career interceptions in the Super Bowl. Name that guy.
That's a good question. I obviously you think of guys that have played in a lot of them. I'm kind of hoping it's a guy who only played in one. He threw 8 interceptions.
It is not. I will tell you that it is not.
I figured. Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Arlington Public House for good food, cocktails, casual atmosphere. Located 703 Main Street in Rochester, Indiana. Go check them out. They are open. Are they open Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays?
Yep. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This past weekend, they had a prime rib special.
Oh, man.
They had tender prime rib with choice of a potato and pick of a hearty soup or crisp salad. And man, that prime rib on the picture looks pretty darn good.
I had the prime rib there last year, and it was fantastic. Yeah. I remember it was really good. So
yeah, I haven't not ate dinner yet tonight. Now I'm
pretty hungry.
Even more hungry than I was just looking at this picture. I got to get off the Facebook page. But go give them a follow on Facebook if you haven't already, and Instagram too.
Surprised you don't have a microwave in your room there. You can just pop a Hot Pocket in real quick. And
you know what? That is a fantastic idea. I need a little mini fridge and a microwave up here. I might never leave. I might never leave.
No reason to.
But yeah, and also talking about the Super Bowl last night. Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit on it. The Eagles just punched them in the mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Kansas City behind, which they're used to be behind in the Super Bowl. Their previous Super Bowl victories, they were down by 10 points or more in every single one.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Eagles got up so big so early, and Kansas City kept finding themselves behind the sticks. Just couldn't get anything going. I mean, Kelsey was dropping balls. DeAndre Hopkins was dropping balls. Patrick was making errant throws. The line just couldn't block. They could not stop the Eagles, and Vic Fangio's defense did not blitz a single time, which
I think we lost Tanner. Are you back?
I didn't even realize I was gone.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
That's great. I was just rambling to myself. But yeah, basically, Vic Fangio's defense didn't blitz at all. I didn't even realize that watching the game, but because they got to Patrick so often last night, I would have thought they would blitz. But yeah, nobody's dominated Kansas City's offensive line like that all season, and nice to see.
Yeah, when I saw that they hadn't blitzed, as you said, they were just harassing him all game long. He was running for his life back there. That it was very surprising. But I mean, you have Carter on the defensive lines just wreaking havoc. You have old man Brandon Graham getting pressures. You have guys all over that defense. I think that exposed Kansas City's offensive line, and I would have said they need some more weapons around Mahomes this offseason, but it might be offensive line heavy now. We saw that a few years ago. I think it was against San Francisco. He was running for his life back there too. Or no, it was against I think it was against Tampa Bay where he got sacked like 5 times.
Yeah, 31-9 loss.
Yep. Yeah, and he had that ankle issue, and they're like, man, they need some line help. Well, it looks like they might need it again. They got down so big so early that they couldn't even establish a running game either. So that puts more pressure on the offense to air it out. And Mahomes didn't play well either.
He played awful.
I mean, he threw obviously the pick 6 to Cooper DeJean. And then it just
shout out to my dad. Before the game, he texted me and good friend of the show, Sean Shriver, that Cooper DeJean was going to come up with a huge play. And he did.
Yeah, big play.
Yeah.
It felt like the wind out of the Chiefs' sails happened on that play. And then it was essentially game over when Mahomes threw that pick at the 10-yard line with, a minute left in the half.
Yep.
But yeah, it was an awfully impressive defensive performance by Philadelphia. Vic Fangio knows what the heck he's doing when he has players on his defense that actually want to play instead of hitting up the clubs in South Beach every night.
He doesn't have to worry about being a head coach when I'm still not convinced he didn't really want to be.
Yeah. And that defense is loaded with talent too. But
Yes.
yeah, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts got a Super Bowl dub, and I still don't know if he's that great of a quarterback. I mean, he threw a bad interception last night. He can
He's
run a little
calm,
bit.
cool, and collected. That's
Yes.
what I like about him. He's a good leader.
Yeah, I'll give him that. He's very, very calm. He never gets high, never gets low, which is what you want out of your quarterback. But he's got some weapons around him. And Devontae Smith, I saw last night, was the first Alabama player ever to score a touchdown in the NFL in the Super Bowl.
Really?
Yeah, like non quarterback division.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter last night. It was from like a verified NFL source too, that I saw. So hopefully he wasn't just being stupid. But yeah, I mean they don't count Jalen Hurts because he ended his career at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was very surprising to me when I saw that. So
Mark Ingram wouldn't have been on the Saints yet.
nope. They haven't had great skill position players up until really they hadn't really had that many good players up until like 15 years ago into the NFL. So
yeah,
yeah, I forget who it was. I'd go find it. But
interesting.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy. But looking into our crystal ball for 2025, and this is as of today on February 10th, because we don't know who's gonna get drafted where, and we don't know what free agents are gonna sign. But who are some teams you're on the lookout next year to make a jump, maybe to contend for a Super Bowl?
To make the Bengals got to start off quick because if they start off 1-4 again, they just can't do that because I think they're a team with the way the season ended. They kind of remind me of Detroit 3 years ago or so when they started off 0-8 or something and then ended up 8-9. Like they just got hot and then they carried it over into the next year, So the Bengals are one team that I would think would make a jump. Will Baltimore or Buffalo get over the hump and get there? It remains to be seen. Will the Chiefs take a step back? As you said last night, and I kind of agree with it, maybe it's starting to the wind in the sails of the Chiefs dynasty might be starting to calm down a little bit because, they're getting – I mean, it happened with Seattle as well when, of course, they only went to 2 Super Bowls and they won one. But that defense got old and they got expensive. Well, now you're seeing Travis Kelce, he might retire. Who knows? DeAndre Hopkins is now, 32 years old. They will get Rashee Rice back, which will help, but that defense is getting older as well and more expensive. Chris Jones is in his 30s now. Karlaftis is entering his prime, but he's going to be up for a massive deal too. So you have those issues that kind of come into play. So I'm looking for the Chiefs to take a little bit of a step back. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to miss the playoffs or even not win the AFC West, but I don't think we'll see them win 15 games again next season. NFC wise, I think Washington will be the fun pick to win the Super Bowl. I could see them taking a step back though as well. I think the Eagles will be really good again. Cowboys should be better. Niners should be a lot better.
I think Green Bay will be a factor.
I think Green Bay will as well. I think, again, it's kind of funny that I think Detroit's window might be closing a little bit. They had a very short window, but they're getting older too, and they can't stay healthy. Bears should be better. I think Minnesota takes a massive step back from where they were this year. And then you have the NFC South, which is kind of putrid at this point, but Kellen Moore was hired by the New Orleans Saints to be their head coach. Panthers should not be very good again. Falcons, who knows what you're going to get. Tampa Bay should be halfway decent. But, yeah, it is the longest offseason by far for football. And I'm already I wouldn't say I'm ready for training camp or anything like that. It'll be nice to take a few weeks off. But,
yeah.
We'll get the itch again pretty quick. I don't know if hopefully you can hear me because Tanner is frozen again.
My Wi-Fi's struggling tonight. I apologize, everybody. I even turned my phone off. I don't know. But looking at DraftKings odds, Philadelphia's favorites to repeat, followed by Kansas City, Baltimore, and Buffalo all tied with the next best odds. Then you got Detroit. Then you got San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the Bengals, Commanders, and Packers tied. Then you got the Rams and the Chargers tied. Then the Texans. Then the Buccaneers and the Broncos tied. Then the Vikings. Then the Bears. That's a little gracious, I think.
Yeah.
Then the Seahawks, or no, the Cowboys. Then Seahawks, Steelers, Dolphins, Falcons, Cardinals, all tied. Then the Jets and the Patriots tied. Then the Raiders. Then the Jaguars. Then the Colts. Then the Panthers, the Giants are tied with the Saints, and then the Titans and Browns are tied for last.
There'll be some interesting storylines now that Aaron Rodgers is not going to be a part of the New York Jets, which I think that was part of my bold predictions that he would be traded. Maybe they release him, maybe they trade him.
You said he would take a snap, but it wouldn't be as a Jet, and I said he'd retire. So
okay, yeah, it sounds like he wants to play. I don't know who's going to want him. Colts are dumb enough to do it. I mean, they've done the retread thing for about the past 5 or 6 years, it feels like, until they took Richardson, and he's been a disaster.
I guess the Vikings are getting floated out there.
He's just following the Brett Favre.
It would be unbelievable.
Yeah. Packers, Jets, Vikings. It's all adding up, and it's interesting that he'd actually want to do that because of the comparisons to Favre, because I know they didn't really get along that well.
Yeah.
In Green Bay, but.
If they go that route, Darnold's definitely out, and McCarthy, you're sitting here thinking, what the heck?
Yeah. I'd rather roll with Sam Darnold or McCarthy at this point of Aaron Rodgers' career. I mean, that Jets team on paper was very good as well, and they were terrible because Aaron Rodgers wasn't very good. And maybe because you have a better head coach out there in Minnesota, things are different, but
yeah.
He's a head case, and he's a distraction.
I think he's washed.
And I think he's washed too. Yeah, I agree.
But maybe he goes to the Raiders. But if that happens, do you think he wants them to take Shadir at 6? Even though he's only going to be there probably for a year, but still,
the Jordan Love thing made him mad.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
I don't know where he can go, where he's going to be just the guy and the only guy. Pittsburgh. Yeah. Pittsburgh, maybe?
I can't imagine him and Tomlin coexisting.
Yeah.
Very different sort of styles there. Colts are really the only one that makes sense to me, and it doesn't even make sense. But they need something at quarterback that's not Anthony Richardson or Joe Flacco.
Browns.
I'd pay for him to go to the Browns. I think that would be a very fitting way for his career to end.
Well, at least he didn't make your life miserable for 2 years like you thought he might.
Right. Didn't play him at all his first year. Then went 1-1, but it was the final game of the year, and the Broncos were up 75 points, and so that wasn't going to matter. So it didn't really hurt at all.
Yeah.
I'm very happy it happened the way it did out there in New York.
Yeah. Deebo Samuel looks like he's not going to be a Niner. They've given permission to open up and look for a trade. And it's interesting. Today he was on some show. He was asked of a team he could see making a jump. Right away, he says the Broncos. Mm-hmm. So, of course, that has Twitter stirring. And, of course, Sean Payton's comments last week about having a joker. I don't know. He's good, but I don't know. I just don't know if I want that type of wide receiver in their locker room. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like he's caused some issues there, and he didn't have that great of a year either. Dolphins make sense too with the Mike McDaniel connection, but it's interesting in the NFL how they grant permission to agents and players if they're okay with trading them to go find a destination that works for them.
Yes.
But it seems like that takes away any sort of leverage the organization has. But I mean, they had the whole thing with Ayuk, who had a terrible year with him after he held out. And now Deebo, he's going to want to get paid too. So there's always something going on in the NFL. There'll probably be some more names out there that request trade or whatever.
Well, then when it comes to wide receivers, I mean, T. Higgins is going to be a free agent. Mm-hmm. Amari Cooper, I believe, is going to be a free agent. Not 100% on that one, but I think. And then there's another decent name out there. It's got to be a good free agent class for wide receivers. But he could have just pulled a Jimmy Butler, be like, I don't want to be here anymore.
I mean,
I don't want to be here.
How many times has Jimmy done that in his career now? 4?
This is his 5th different team.
Yeah, and he's forced his way out of every single one.
Yep.
So he's the issue.
Yes, he is.
He'll get bored in Golden State next year, and he'll want to do the same thing.
Yep.
That's part of the reason why people can't stay in the NBA anymore.
100%.
Stuff like that too. So, and then his debut went really well with Golden State. He scored 25, and Steph's like, we play so different. I jacked up 16 threes, and he jacked up 1, and we scored the same amount of points. So, and Golden State's only like the 8 or 9 seed right now, maybe.
They're not what they were. Their window's closed.
No, yeah, it's closed. I mean, you have Draymond out there getting texts about every game.
Yep.
Getting in fights and stuff. And Steph's, he's 36, 37 years old.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Clay isn't there anymore. Andrew Wiggins is now gone because they traded him for Jimmy Butler. So I can't imagine they're going to get that much better with him.
No.
But are you tuning in to Luka's big debut tonight?
No.
Me either. Couldn't
care less.
Could not care less about that whole drama. And then, that general manager there with the Dallas Mavericks already, he thought he cooked. Like he's like, man, I made a heck of a trade. We got Luka out of here, the guy who is out of shape by my estimation, regardless of his if he's good or not. Now Anthony Davis plays one game and they think he tore his ACL. So that's pretty.
I'm not laughing at that.
I know.
I'm not laughing at him getting hurt, but just the irony of it all.
It's pretty fitting for that to happen. So
that's Dallas is an interesting sports city right now.
Cuban would have never let that happen.
No, he wouldn't have.
He would have never. And he's already made comments like, well, I don't know. He's kind of staying out of it.
I haven't looked into it. Like, why did he get out?
I don't really know. I don't know if he's just like, it's time to
do something else.
Retire or do something. Because he's still, I think, is he majority still?
I thought he was, but like he definitely isn't like
not the
he was
decision maker anymore.
Yeah.
But I think he still owns like 25% or something like that.
Man, I miss the days when like he first bought the Mavericks and he was wearing like jerseys and getting on the court.
Yeah.
Mad at the officials.
Yeah. We don't have an owner like that anymore.
No. The Clippers owner's kind of nuts, but in a good way.
He is, like he's a nerdy
positive dude. Yeah, he's a nerdy, positive dude that just I don't know, gets into it.
I really wish Cuban could have bought the Cubs, but there was no way Major League Baseball would have let him do that because he spends too much money, and he's still he was a big mouth at the time. So
that Moody on Facebook saying Cuban owns 28%.
That makes sense. Yeah, I thought he was still majority share, but he gave up all like operations
decisions. Yeah.
So
that'd be hard. That'd be really hard. Like you've done it for so long, then you step away and have somebody else kind of take care of your baby. That would be hard.
Yeah, that'd be difficult, but he obviously was ready to do that. So
more Shark Tank for Mark.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the NFL or NBA for that matter?
Nothing on the NFL.
All-Star games coming up.
The NBA one is.
Yeah.
Pass.
Pass.
There wasn't.
Love the dunk contest, but now
there was a big trade that was rescinded. Mark Williams, center for the Hornets, was going to LA for Dalton Connect and a first-round pick or something like that. And 5 days after it was agreed upon, it was rescinded because they didn't like something on Williams' physical. So you don't see that very often. And how awkward would that be for Dalton Connect after 5 days he was traded to the Charlotte Hornets and now he's back on the team? It's got to be awkward for him. So
now I can't remember when the Hornets moved to New Orleans. They were the New Orleans Hornets for a little bit, right? Then branded to the Pelicans.
Yes, yeah. When Chris Paul was there, they were the New Orleans Hornets.
Okay, that's what I thought. And then of course the Bobcats. Then they rebranded back to the Hornets. Okay.
Was Paul there when they were the Pelicans even?
Let's look it up.
I don't even remember because Paul Paul, they were definitely New Orleans Hornets when he was there because they were the Charlotte Bobcats.
I keep forgetting he's still in the league on the Spurs.
I think Spurs are going to be pretty good too here in the next coming years. Now they have De'Aaron Fox and they have Wemby, who is might win an MVP in the next couple of years. That should have been one of my bold predictions.
It just says Hornets is 05 through 2011, and then he was a Clipper from 2011 to 17.
So I don't think he was ever a Pelican. Maybe a very brief crossover.
Yeah. What year did
I think New Orleans Pelicans, I think Anthony Davis immediately. New Orleans Hornets is Chris Paul.
I think Chris Paul and Jamal Mashburn, because my dad got me a Jamal Mashburn jersey back in the day. 2013 they changed, so no, he was not a Pelican.
I didn't think so. I can't believe they've been Pelicans for 12 years now.
It fits so much better than New Orleans Hornets.
Yeah, I'm sure they have Hornets down in New Orleans, but
yet look at the Utah Jazz. I mean, that never should have fit.
Yeah, I don't think of many jazz clubs in Utah. New Orleans Jazz makes a lot more sense.
100%.
Which is where 100%. I think they were, right?
They were, yes, they were. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but with Pistol Pete down there. But Utah's hockey team's just Utah hockey team right
I like
now.
it. Yeah. I like when the Commanders were Washington football team.
I got used to it.
Yeah. Too. WFT.
Yeah. Thad Booty on Facebook talked about Mark Cuban. Not hard to sell when you buy for 600 to 700 million and sell for 3 billion plus.
That softens the blow significantly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we wouldn't know, but that's true.
No, wouldn't know. I'd like to know someday, but
yeah, maybe someday.
Not right now.
Maybe someday. Well, J-Man, you want to get educated?
Let's do it
today. All right. Let's see what's happened on this day in sports on February 10th. On the day 1920, baseball outlaws all pitchers involving tampering with the ball.
No more spitters.
No more spitballs. That's kind of disgusting if you think about it.
It is. Now they kind of they don't really tamper with it. I mean, you have rosin there. They did with the spider tack, and they banned that a few years ago. But
On the day 1961, the AFL's LA Chargers moved to San Diego. They have since moved back.
They should have stayed in San Diego.
On this day, 1969, LSU's Pete Maravich, which we were just talking about, scored 66 points despite his team losing to Tulane 101-94.
Yeah, they didn't play much defense, those LSU teams. That was without the three-point line, too, so that's even more impressive.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
On this day, 1971, Bill White became the first African-American baseball announcer. He was an announcer for New York Yankees.
That's neat.
Got some cricket. Won't test your knowledge on that. Here's a good one. On this day, 1985, the 35th NBA All-Star Game was held in the Hoosier Dome, Indianapolis, Indiana. The West beat the East 140-129. Who was the MVP?
What year was that? 75? Is that what you said?
85.
85. The West won. That Magic?
Ralph Sampson, Houston Rockets center.
Interesting.
On the day 1991, the 41st NBA All-Star Game was held at the Charlotte Coliseum. The East beat the West 116-114. Who was the MVP?
Low scoring by that measure. Is it Michael? MJ?
Good guess. I had a feeling you're going to guess him. Charles Barkley of the Philadelphia 76ers. Yep. On this day, 1992, Mike Tyson did some bad things in the state of Indiana.
Man, how is he not?
Or got convicted. Got convicted of some bad things, I should say. Yeah. OJ's on this day in 97. We won't talk about him either. On this day in 2002, the 51st All-Star Game was played in the First Union Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The West beat the East 135-120. Who was the MVP?
Kobe
Bryant.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Kobe Bean.
Yes, sir. On this day, 2007, the Pro Bowl was played. Back then, it was in Honolulu, which it should be still. Dumb they moved it. AFC beat the NFC 31-28. Who was the MVP?
2007. Peyton.
Carson Palmer The Cincinnati Bengals.
Interesting.
On this day in 2008, the Pro Bowl was played once again Honolulu. NFC beat the AFC 42-30. Who was the MVP?
NFC Donovan McNabb.
Adrian Peterson. Good guess. And on this day, 2011, Jerry Sloan resigned as the head coach of the Utah Jazz.
I remember that. Yeah, I was kind of a Jazz fan back then when D-Will was there, and he kind of it sounds like D-Will was kind of the issue.
Really?
Yeah.
And on this day, 2019, the 8 centrally owned and operated team of the Alliance of American Football got underway as the Orlando Apollos beat the Atlanta Legends 40-6.
Is that still a thing?
I think they all formed together.
And they're just the XFL or whatever?
I think it's the UFL. I think they took that name, but yeah.
Does anyone watch that crap?
I don't know. I will every spring watch a quarter. And I'm like, this is hard to watch.
Yeah, I can't get into football in April. I'll be honest.
Nope. Hard for me to even care about spring game of my own college. Even though this year I will, since Purdue has 40 new guys on their roster. Well, some of them won't be there because they're high school kids, but they signed 40 new guys through the portal.
That's crazy.
Isn't it crazy? Even though Odom signed more than that both years at UNLV, so I guess he's used to it. But that is the On This Day segment, which I forgot to bring up the banner. I'm acting like a rookie here on our 430th episode. It is brought to you by Like It Is every week in 2025, Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated woodcraft shop based out of Texas with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs to fit your needs, and their pieces are a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. You can see some of their recently completed projects by visiting them on Instagram and on Facebook. At Mooney Woodcrafts is their handle on Instagram. And if you let them know the Tan and J-Man Show sent you, you get 15% off your first sign order. So get your sign orders in. Dad does great work. His signs make a great addition, like I said, any office, man cave, garage, and they're great for any occasion, too. Birthdays, holidays, just a nice gift. Tell them we sent you 15% off.
Do you want to break out the new segment we're starting tonight?
Yes. We are happy to have Proforma Print House promo group back. Proforma Print 2 promo group, I should say, of Proforma Print House back on board for the rest of the year. And so we decided to change our segment a little bit. We're going away from the Pick Six and doing something we've wanted to do for a little while. Yeah. That's called the blind ranking segment.
Yeah, we have a topic, and then we give 5 names or something, and you blind rank them one by one without knowing which comes next.
And we will switch. So since this week I gave the birdie or bogey question, J-Man's giving me the blind ranking question. Next week we'll flip. And I'm sure we're going to get pretty frustrated with these lists because we don't know what's coming next.
Yeah. I have Super Bowl MVPs here. So that's your topic, starting with Terrell Davis.
So is this or can I rank them however I want? Like how good I think, how much I like them? Career.
I would say rank the careers of these players, not their Super Bowl, performance or how much you like these players. I think Terrell Davis would be number 1 for that. But,
I like TD, good career, cut short by injury on a tackle of all things. When he was trying to tackle a guy on an interception, he played 2 more years after that. He got hurt in 2001, played 2 more years, but he wasn't himself. I feel good about putting him at 3, in the middle.
Yeah, that makes sense. Ray Lewis.
Well, could say a lot of things about him off the field, but heck of a player of defense. I'm going number 2. I'm going Ray number 2.
All right. Jerry Rice.
Oh my God, these are heavy hitters. I should have put TD at 3. Should have put him at 3. I know you got some up your sleeve, but it's just wrong for me to put Jerry at. He's a wide receiver. I can't believe I'm doing so. I'll put Jerry at 4. Hate it. Oh. Nick
Foles.
5.
All right.
Crud.
The final one here is Tom Brady. So.
Oh, all right. I feel good about Brady.
You did pretty well with that list.
All right. If I could do it over again, I'd keep Brady at 1, keep Foles at 5. D goes to 4, Jerry goes to 2, Ray Lewis goes to 3.
That makes sense. But you did pretty dang good, I think.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I after Nick Foles, I'm like, he's gonna say, gosh, I don't even know. Whoever that MVP was for the Buccaneers, that cornerback.
Oh, what was it, Jackson? I think his last
Yeah,
name was Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to be the worst one ever, didn't he? Of our lifetime.
How Nick Foles didn't have a very good career.
No, he had a good game though.
He had a good game. But,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
He was Superman in the Eagles green for a little while. For some reason.
Yeah. So the only place he played well was Philadelphia in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. He got paid for by the Rams, but he wasn't very good.
No, he was not.
But no, that's a good one. I'm glad we started off with that. Mm-hmm. That's good and that's fun. And like I said, the blind ranking segment is brought to you by, like it will be every week throughout the rest of 2025, Proforma Print Soup Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Proforma Print Soup Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs, so you need to look no further. Let them be your one source of print and promotional company today by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call at 574-210-3815. And when it comes to your company, you definitely don't want your logo to be blind out there in the world. So you want it popping on stuff. You want people to have it in hand. Get great promotional products through Barbara at Proforma Print Soup Promo Group. All right. Big Ten Hoops.
Mm-hmm.
Another week down. Good week for my Boilers. So week for your Illini with the split.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Nailed it on the head. So weak. They hadn't been playing very well, and then they go to Rutgers, and of course Dylan Harper comes back, and so that immediately, gosh. And then they got down 23-6, and just thought, man, this season's gonna tank. Fought all the way back and took a 3-point lead with about 9 minutes left, and they tanked down the stretch. But then they followed it up. They played at Minnesota. Minnesota, I would say, is the worst team in the Big Ten.
So you're still sticking with that, huh?
I think so. I know they beat Michigan. They won at Iowa. They beat Oregon, who's in a free fall right now. But I would still say, yeah, maybe Washington. At this point, it might be Northwestern with all Barnheiser out and Leach out for the season now. But it was nice for just to see Illinois come in there and impose their will. They got down 9-2 at the start. I'm thinking, here we go again. I mean, Minnesota hit 3 straight threes to start the thing. But then Illinois just absolutely blew them out. The rest of the way, it was nice to see KJ get back on track. He hadn't had a good game really since the Indiana game a month ago. He had 24 points. Will Riley's been their best player the past 2 or 3 weeks, which is good to see him break out of his freshman wall. He became the first freshman in the nation since at least 96 to have 27 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and 0 turnovers in a game. He's been awesome. Tomija Visic is back and playing very good basketball at 18 points and 11. So it's a glimpse of what they can be. Now they just got to find some sort of consistency. And now they have a big week this week with UCLA, the hottest team in the Big Ten, 7 in a row, 7 wins in a row for them coming into town. And then Michigan State coming to town on Saturday and hope to get revenge after High Knees screwed them in East Lansing about a month ago. So it's a big week in the fact they are honoring 2 of the former players. Kofi Coburn's getting his number in the rafter. I think I said this last week on tomorrow, Tuesday. And then Terrence Shannon Jr. on Friday. So it'll be amped up crowds for both, and they need to win both of them. I'll say it. They have to win both of them. Cannot settle for a 1-1 week again.
Now you were just talking about High Knees. Now he's just setting screens on Illinois guys during games.
Yeah. You know how out of position you have to be to somehow it was fast break, Ace Bailey, who will be a top 3 pick.
Yeah,
he's on a fast break, which is difficult enough to stop. And then you have old Heine's out there. He kind of screened Humrickhouse, and then he pretty much pushed Mraz Johnson out of the way and let Bailey have a layup. And then he's walking down with his high knees, and he has a smile on his face. And I think every single Illinois fan wanted to punch that smile off.
Did the top come off J-Man for a second or two there?
I don't really remember. There were many instances that game where the top was blown. And at that point, I think Illinois
that time of year,
started coming back, and it was like a 5-point game at that time. So I was like back into it, where when they were down 23-6, I just kind of sat back and, okay, they cut it to 8 by half. Okay, now it's a 5-point game. I'm kind of more engaged. But there were some words said at a higher octave than they probably should have been during that play there. I think I said something like, get him off the court or something like that. And man, I have seen about every single Big Ten fan in like my FYP on Twitter has been on high knees for something. He kicked Chris Collins out of their game at Washington on Saturday night. And it was probably deserved. I was able to read Chris Collins' lips. But I think every other fan base, I think he's probably public enemy number one for every fan base as far as officials go. I haven't seen Courtney Green out there at all this year. I don't know if he's in a different region or what. Of course, we used to hate on, Bo Borowski, but honestly, I'd kill for him at this point because he was a pretty good ref. We just like to hate on him.
Jim Burr.
Jim Burr.
Jim Burr. Yeah. I knew that sounds right.
He's been retired for so long that we forgot.
I can't remember his name.
Jim Burr, he had Sterator there for a while.
Teddy Valentine.
TV Teddy. Ed Hightower.
The old principal.
Yeah. But now I would say Heine's is probably the most well-known guy doing Big Ten games. About every fan base hates him. So I guess it comes with the territory, but I especially do not like him. And hopefully he does not do another Illinois game the rest of the year, but I know I'll probably do both of them this week.
I hope he's not up in Ann Arbor tomorrow night. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
But he probably will be.
Honestly, I dislike Carsonson just as much because I think he's just a bad ref. I just don't like him at all.
Yeah. I like when I don't know the refs' names because then I think
they're
doing a decent job.
Yeah. And honestly, probably knowing their names and having a big name puts them under a microscope more than anything else, and that probably makes it heightened. But there's a reason why you have a big name, and it's usually because people don't like you.
Well, and speaking of Teddy Valentine, he got a big name because he went back down from Knight. He was like the one official in the conference that'd go back at Bob Knight back in the day. So,
yeah. And I always remember I don't like Dockich, but he always said TV Teddy is who you want to have when you're playing on the road.
Yeah.
So which it makes sense because he's not going to buy into the home crowd stuff, and which Bo Borowski was kind of the same way too. He was pretty consistent. We just didn't like him, and looking back, I think he was pretty dang good at what he did.
Yeah, very true. But my Boilers had a good week. Went up to Carver Hawkeye, took care of business. Even though two of their dudes were shooting. I don't know how I want to phrase this. I know how I want to phrase it, but I got to keep it clean. They just couldn't miss. Let's put it that way.
Who was it? Was it Samfort and Josh Dix?
Both of them. Yeah, even though both missed some free throws, which is weird. But gosh, they started off just ripping threes. Of course, Freeman got announced out for the year. I think it was the day of or day before. So I was like, okay, Trey Cobbin-Wrench should eat. And he was, but he got in foul trouble. And then it's like, all right. Well, Purdue was struggling at times, and Braden Smith's like, I'm putting the game on my back. 31 points. Was just doing whatever he wanted to do.
He had a stretch where he scored like 15 points in the first 5 minutes of the second half, didn't he?
Yeah, he hit some threes, and he gets dribbling, and it just takes this one step like fade away that you're like, why is a 6-foot guard doing that? And he makes it more times than not. It's just his shot. Fletcher Lawyer disappeared at times, but came up big at the end. Jakari Harris, CJ Cox don't always fill the stat sheets, but they're getting better and better. Camden Heide, Miles Colvin can't hit open shots, but at least Camden Heide does other things. He rebounds, plays some defense. Miles Colvin just hasn't done much. He did have a decent game against USC at home Friday night, but man, I think he hit 1 3, but he still like 1 for 6. They just can't get him going. But Braden and Trey Cobbin-Wrenn are playing at such a high level right now. Trey Cobbin-Wrenn was Big Ten Player of the Week again, even though he got left off both the top 10 list for power forward or center. I mean, I don't know which one they want to categorize him on, but I thought he deserved to be top 10 on one of them. Now they could do what they did to Braden Smith last year. Braden Smith did not make the top 10 list for the best point guard.
Remember
And then when
that.
they cut down to the top 5, he made it.
Yeah.
So that might happen. But no, Purdue's playing well right now. USC was maybe the most athletic team in the Big Ten they've played all year. USC had a dude go off for 32. That kept them in the game for a little while.
All that.
But it didn't matter at the end. And now Purdue's got two toughies this week up in Ann Arbor tomorrow night for a huge showdown at 7 o'clock. And Michigan's going to be out for blood for what Purdue did to them a couple Fridays ago at Mackey. And then they return home and play Wisconsin at home Saturday.
Yeah.
And then a quick road trip up to East Lansing the following Tuesday. So it's
schedule's heating up a little bit.
Time to tighten them up, and got to find out who's going to win the Big Ten here in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's still kind of jumbled up there. Obviously, Michigan State has just one loss still.
Two.
Who else they lose?
UCLA and
that's right. UCLA and
USC, right?
No,
they beat USC.
Oh, it is USC. Yeah, they lost their West Coast trip. I forgot about that. USC got them, and Purdue has 2 losses, right?
Yep, Penn State and Ohio State. Michigan has 2.
That's right? It. Minnesota's one of them.
Or do they lost 3? They've lost 4 overall. Maybe they've lost 3. I can't think though.
UCLA, all of a sudden, they're 9-4. They're still kind of in it. Wisconsin's kind of right there as well.
I think 4 can still win in the conference. 4 losses.
Yeah, Purdue's schedule's heating up. Michigan State's schedule's heating up. Michigan has Purdue tomorrow night.
Yep.
UCLA's got a tough schedule this week. So, it's now put up or shut up time if you're going to win, the conference. You can't just fold now.
Nope.
That's February. It's never
we also
fun. It's a grind in February. I'm sure every coach does that too.
Well, and it's a grind for those back half teams just trying to get in the Big Ten tournament now.
It makes it more interesting for sure. I mean, you have teams like, Northwestern's right there at the bottom and they lose 2 of their better players. Iowa loses there probably. I don't know if I would say he's their best player in Owen Freeman, but he's one of the top.
Their post presence though.
Yeah, he's their post presence. They might, and looking at their schedule, they might not win another game. Washington's not very good, but then you have a surprise team like Oregon. If they keep losing, which I don't think they will, because I think they're pretty good. But they've lost 6 in a row and blew
17-point lead.
Yeah, 14-point lead at half. And Michigan State just popped them in the mouth in the first 5 minutes.
Jason Richardson's son played awesome.
Jace was awesome. He's going to be a good one. Hopefully the NBA sees something in him like they did Cam Christie, and he'll jump. After one,
Michigan has lost 2. Purdue and Minnesota. Michigan's 2 losses.
That's it, though. They haven't lost. It seems like Michigan's schedule's been pretty easy then. If they've only lost 2, they did win in Indiana, and that's honestly probably the biggest story of the week. Is Mike Woodson has announced he will resign and will not be back next year. So that opens.
What a mess,
Indiana!
A mess.
It is a mess. It read more like. Hey, Woody, we're going to fire you at the end of the year. And since you're an alum, why don't you announce that you're not coming back and you're going to resign or retire or do whatever? But now the delusional Indiana fans, which there are some very smart Indiana fans that know their spot in college basketball as far as we're probably not an elite. I mean, I think they're still a very, very, very good job, but I wouldn't say they're an elite job anymore. We're 4 more years removed from their last, even national title appearance. And to think some of these people think they have any sort of shot at Brad Stevens are delusional.
They think so today. I saw a report
that
I don't know who leak put out there, but they said that Brad's at least willing to talk.
I mean, you might as well talk, but you're going to give up running the greatest franchise in the history of the NBA, in the Boston Celtics. Where you don't have to recruit. You have a set team that's going to be winners for a long time. You're coming off an NBA title, and you're going to want to come coach college basketball, dealing with the NIL. He got out of college basketball. I've said this like 15 times. He got out of college basketball in 2013 because he was sick of recruiting, sort of deal. It's going to be even worse now.
2011.
No, he was there in 2013. I remember He
I thought it
was
was right after the national championship game he got out of there, no?
he was coaching Butler when Illinois whooped him in the Maui, and that was
Okay.
November of
All right.
2012.
So still been over a decade. Okay.
Yeah, it's still 12 years now. I think that was his final year though.
Okay.
But anyway, I think they need to see if Chris Beard
Yeah,
would
he
want to
makes
come.
sense.
I mean, you have Bruce Pearl's got Auburn, the number 1 team in the country. You have Nate Oates, number 2 team in the country. They play each other on Saturday. And a side note here, it is the first ever number 1 versus number 2 matchup in the history of SEC basketball.
I believe it.
It does not involve Kentucky either, which is, I think, the most surprising aspect of that, is it doesn't involve Kentucky. I don't know if they're going to want to come. Reach out to Chris Beard, Altenberg, whatever his name is, from Iowa State.
Yeah. Any chance Dusty May flips after 1 year in Michigan?
Absolutely. I would probably put him as the best odds right now. I mean, he said he's committed to Michigan and all that, but things change. It's your alma mater. You worked under Knight,
He got cheered more than Woodson did the other day during the
That's
coach introductions.
Dusty May can coach, obviously. I mean, he turned Michigan around in a season,
Yeah.
So
easy place to recruit to with NIL up there.
It is, but honestly, at this point, I wouldn't say IU's a better job in Michigan. There might be equals. I wouldn't say IU's a better job in Ohio State because they have equal amount of resources. And I also think the fact that IU is a basketball school, I don't think a lot of coaches want to deal with that because you put under
pressure.
Significant more pressure and under more of a microscope, where if you stay at Michigan or you go to Ohio State, you have the same amount of resources. I mean, Jawan hung on there longer than he probably should have at Michigan.
Yeah.
You win there and they love you, and you lose there, you have a much longer leash than you do out in Indiana.
Yeah, and but right now is probably the best time for somebody who's interested in a job to take the Indiana job than the previous couple of times it's been open. Because if their fans would just reel their expectations back a little bit and not focus on banner number 6 and just focus on getting to the tournament, they're a school that should make the tournament every year, probably.
Every year.
But if a guy could just come in and do that, right away, string 3 or 4, and make a little run every time, they should be pretty pleased and to get started. And then, but they won't be, because they always want that 6th championship. It's been since 1987. Yeah. It's been since 2002 since they've been past the Sweet 16. Yes, that was a national championship appearance. They haven't even been to a Sweet 16 in 9 years. 2016. They've only been to 4 tournaments in the last decade.
Yeah, they ran Tom Crean out of town, and he had a pretty good thing going there. They had a rough final season that he was there, but the year before that, they were in the Sweet 16, as you said. Yeah. They were a 1 seed, and they lost in the Sweet 16. A lot of schools would kill for that, and have 2 Sweet 16s and a 4-year span, and is just be careful what you wish for. I know you want that banner number 6, and obviously Mike Woodson needed to go.
Yes, he does.
It wasn't working. We're not.
You and I were on the record saying it wasn't going to work at the beginning.
Yeah, we thought it was a terrible hire to begin. Yeah. For some reason, IU more than any other college team puts where they went to school. We need an Indiana guy. You need a good basketball coach.
Yeah.
Screw the Indiana guy.
Yep.
And that's why I think it'd be funny if they hired an Alford. If they make the same mistake twice, which Alford's a better basketball coach significantly than Mike Woodson. I mean, he had a good thing at Nevada, New Mexico, and a few good years at UCLA. But go find a good basketball coach. Who cares where they went to school at?
Yep. 100%. Be hilarious if they brought Sampson back. Well, it wouldn't, because I think he'd do a really good job, but they won't do. They won't do that.
I can't imagine they do that. He's got a good thing going at Houston too. Yeah. I don't think he'd want to leave that. And
that's the cool thing now, J-Man, to run him back at a school that didn't end well. I mean, Scott Frost did great at UCF last time.
He did.
And Rich Rod did pretty good at West Virginia, but so I guess I don't know.
Thad's not doing very well at Butler though.
No, nobody's going to. They need to go back to the Horizon League.
They need to go back to the Horizon League.
Yeah. Maybe Fran goes there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if old Franny. It was not part of my bold predictions, but I said, I think there'd be 4 coaches
I think
fired.
you're right. I think you're
But
right.
I think Fran's time is done. I think the fans are over him. This has
It's
not
time
been
for a
a good
split for
year.
both sides.
He's been there
That's a
15
tough
years.
job. That's a tough
It is.
job.
Yeah, that's a tough job, and he's done really good things there too.
Yep.
I mean, he's won a lot there, a lot more than they had previously.
Yep.
So yeah,
his teams can score. They just never figured it out on the defensive end.
Yeah, they still can score, but they're giving 100 points a game to ranked teams this year.
Well, let's fly through some Big Ten games here. Starting tomorrow night, number 7 Purdue at number 24 Michigan.
This will be the J-Man's Book of Bridge of the week.
I had a feeling that was coming.
Yeah, I think Purdue splits this week. I think they lose at Michigan. I think Michigan's going to be out for blood, as you said. And 6 p.m. tip-offs are tough. 6 p.m. Central Time, I guess, which I guess that's just me. 7 p.m. Eastern, so it's probably not that big of a deal for you. But yeah, I think they lose this one and then they bounce back against Wisconsin. It's just a tough week. Purdue's kind of due for a 1-1 sort of week, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with you.
So, do you? Okay. Yeah. J-Man's Book of Bridge Week brought to you by Travis Watchung Insurance Agency for life, home, auto, business, renters, workers' comp, and farmers insurance. Contact Travis 219-869-4561. It is interesting, though. I mean, Purdue got up, 25 points in the first half, and Michigan kind of gave up.
5 minutes in, pretty much.
Yeah, you probably won't see that again from Michigan. But yeah, they're a tough matchup, especially for a team like Purdue, because you have – 2 7-footers. They're a tough matchup for anyone. Because, I mean, you have Danny Wolf, who's 7 foot and can shoot the 3 ball, and he's their best passer.
I think he scored 2 points in their first matchup.
Yeah, and now that, assuming Purdue, doesn't end it in the first 5 minutes to see a full game.
Well, they won't on the road. They won't on the road. No. Real quick, Sean Coleman on Facebook. Chris Beard had been a name thrown around. Sampson wouldn't be off the table, morally speaking.
Yeah. Yeah, Beard is the name that makes the most sense. He's a good basketball coach.
Yep, and he's got IU ties through the night days. So, UCLA at Illinois tomorrow night.
I'm taking Illinois at home. Hopefully they can find some sort of consistency, but it's been up and down, which is what I thought they would be. But I was hoping by February it wouldn't kick in their roller coaster, but it has. Yeah, give me Illinois in a close one.
Yep, I'll take Illinois in a close one at home as well. Indiana at Michigan State.
Michigan State. I think Indiana has a real hard time winning another one.
Yeah, you got to think their locker room. We don't know where their heads are at anymore, and they're losing some close ones. So, yeah. Penn State at USC. I'm taking the Trojans.
Yeah, I'm taking USC. They're a lot better than a lot of people thought they would be.
Penn State's really fallen off.
Yeah.
In Northwestern at Oregon, I like Oregon. That's 11 o'clock Eastern tip tomorrow night.
That's brutal. Oregon can't lose this one, or they might not make the tourney, even though they have all these quad 1 wins. Northwestern's bad now with no Barnheiser. Leach is out, so they're a one-man show with Martinelli. Give me Oregon.
Iowa at Rutgers Wednesday night.
Give me Rutgers. Home team.
Yeah, I'll take Rutgers at home. And Washington at Ohio State.
Give me Ohio State. Tough loss for them yesterday at Nebraska. I think they bounced back.
I agree. Speaking of Nebraska, they're the lone game on Thursday. They host Maryland.
Give me Maryland on the road. I think Maryland's as good as anyone in the conference at this point.
I'll take Nebraska in the upset. I haven't picked an upset yet. So UCLA at Indiana Friday night, Valentine's Day.
Give me UCLA. I think they have a 1-1 week.
Yeah, I'll take them in a close one.
Yeah.
Wisconsin at Purdue on Saturday.
Give me Purdue.
I'll take the Boilers in that one. Washington at Penn State. I'll take the Nittany Lions in that one.
Yeah, I'm taking Penn State in that one.
Minnesota at USC. I like USC.
USC.
Michigan State at Illinois at 8 o'clock Eastern time.
I'm taking Illinois. They gotta win both.
Yep. I think you have a good week this week.
I hope so. I need it.
It's Sunday, Michigan at Ohio State.
Give me Ohio State.
I'll take team. Michigan. I think Michigan has a good week. Nebraska at Northwestern.
I mean, Nebraska on the road. They need a road game, or they need a road win to enhance that resume, which they're hanging on.
I'm taking the Huskers. Iowa at Maryland.
Maryland.
I like Maryland as well. And Rutgers at Oregon.
Give me Oregon. I think Oregon needs a 2-0 week. Have to have a 2-0 week.
Is that the longest road trip in the conference?
Got to
Rutgers
be.
to Oregon?
Yeah, Rutgers to Oregon or
Yeah, I'm
Rutgers
taking the
to
Ducks.
UCLA or USC. But
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
yeah,
Eugene and yeah.
yeah.
Birdie or bogey question. Patrick Mahomes threw 2 picks last night in Super Bowl 59, making his career interceptions in Super Bowl total up to 7. There's one guy who has thrown 8 career Super Bowl interceptions. Who is that guy?
I gotta go Tom Brady just because he played 9.
Tom Brady has thrown 7 interceptions in 10 Super Bowls.
10
he was in.
Yeah. Man, Bradshaw. I have no idea.
Not Terry Bradshaw.
I have no idea if it's not Brady.
John Elway in his 5 Super Bowls.
Oh, he did play in a bunch, didn't he?
He threw a lot in the first 3 because they were blowouts. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Johnny Boy.
I missed it too, if that makes you feel better earlier today.
That does a little bit. Thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man show. Special shout out to my mother-in-law, who it's her birthday today.
Yes, happy birthday.
She doesn't want people to know what her age is, but I'll just say she's the oldest she can be without being 60. So you can do the math. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back at her next month. Happy birthday to T-Dog, too. It's on Saturday. So have a great